Hello, everyone. Glad you could make it. Broadcasting from the big city of Salcha, Alaska, with a population of 751 lonely souls and lots of Malamutes. I just walked in from a small training run with Sherman and Dozer and little Junior. Sherman, of course, our rookie this year, 2.5 years old. This was his third time in harness, and he kind of acts like Farmer sometimes. I don't know if any of you remember the stories of Farmer, but he was quite a character, and I think there's a little bit of Farmer blood in every single one of my dogs out there, and he was a special guy. But when he was two, I started training him for lead, and at a very interesting place, a place I called the Hellhole, which is actually part of the Badlands. Um, it's a area that has perpetual wind, so the snow is hard packed. And if you ever want to train a leader, on a place without trails to teach them right and left, is a good hard packed place or on a big lake. So I decided, well, to train him to lead. I mean, I couldn't resist. The way he looked at me, I knew he wanted to lead. I run him in a wheel position for a long time for the beginning of the season, and he just loved to pull, and he just had that look, he had that leader look, really smart. You can tell a dog's intelligent by looking into his eyes, and he was a smart guy. So one day I said, "Well, all right, Farmer, let's put you in lead and see what you can do." and there's no trails in the Arctic, none whatsoever. I mean, you're on your own. You have a runaway team, they're a runaway. I mean, that's it. So and I use a pretty large team, as 22 dogs, and so I rely heavily on the stop and go command. To set up snow hook is a joke. I mean, that's just, I guess, the thought that counts, but it doesn't mean anything. They can pull that hook anytime they want. 22 burly Malamutes, there's nothing to hold them back. So I use a stop and go command for to get them in control, and they all listen. They have to learn to stop on a dime. You should be able to. I should be able to be traveling on glare ice, and I say whoa, and they have to stop. It's a life and death situation, you know. If they don't, let's say you're traveling on glare ice and you see open water ahead, and you say whoa, and they don't stop, well, guess what? You're not going to make it, and neither will your dog. So it's obligation to teach them stop and go. And of course, the command to go is a very important command, extremely important. In fact, you really can't get the strength out of a dog unless you do have a go command. Well, let's get back to the story about Farmer. So I put him in the lead, and I put him between Boss and Bear. And each of those dogs were relatively smaller than Farmer. Farmer was about 120 pounds. That's the reason I kept him in wheel. I figured, well, he's so unathletic. Boy, he fooled me. He was like a superstar. And so Bear was a smaller dog, and so was Boss. And so I put him in the middle, thinking they will kind of keep him under control. And we took off, and the team started to speed up pretty good with Farmer in the lead. So, which is normal. He's excited, running fast. So I let the team catch up to me, let them pass me. I usually ski out front of them. I just let them pass me, and then when the sled come by, I just jumped on it. Took off my skis while I was cruising along, packed them in the sled, and watched the scenery go by, which was nothing but white tundra and brush. And in the distance was a herd of muskox. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen muskox before, but they're burly, long haired creatures, almost like a bison. And so we're cruising along. All of a sudden, Farmer just seemed like he lost his mind. He took a hard right. We're going down the river, and he took a right and took Boss and Bear with him. He was hell bent and going someplace. I didn't know where, but he had his nose to the ground, and it looked like from the sled he was chasing something. But his nose was on the ground. Oh, maybe there's some mice or something he's chasing. But then I realized he's not going to stop. I mean, this dog has gone crazy on me. He's lost his mind. I made a big mistake. I got to stop the team, and we're on ice. And so I say, whoa. And a lot of dogs tried stopping, but Farmer, he wouldn't have anything to do with stopping. He had his nose to the ground, and he was heading to who knows where. And then as the wind, I realized in the wind, as I was sitting on my sled, watching little black balls bouncing along the snow and on the ice. They're muskox turds. And he was chasing muskox turds. Of all things, I kind of laughed, and then I looked up, and right, not too far away, right before us, was a herd of muskox. All the bulls had gathered the cows and the calves, put them behind them. They had their heads down, and they were ready for battle. And they were ready for battle with a 22-dog Malamute team that was heading straight for them with some fanatical leader leading them. And that fanatical leader was Farmer. And what could I do? Saying, whoa, there's nothing going to stop Farmer. There's no place to set a hook. The hook wouldn't do me any good anyhow. So I just stood there. I climbed up in the back of the sled, and I stood on the back of the runners and kind of stood on the brake. Kind of effort. It didn't do any good. And then finally, as they got closer to the muskox, I saw a sandbar on the riverbank. I said, all right, as soon as those sleds hit that sandbar, they're going to slow down. I'm going to jump off, sprint up to Farmer, and turn him around because we're going to get clobbered by these muskox. I mean, they got their heads down, and they are ready to clobber us. It was kind of like they were like a baseball bat, and we're a ball heading right towards them. And sure enough, we got closer and closer, and Farmer and the team climbed up over the sandbar. The first sled hit that sandbar and almost, it was a pure sand on a 1,000-pound sled. It slowed them way down. I jumped off and ran as fast up to the leaders, and Farmer wheeled them around and got them out of there. And those muskox were just grunting and carrying on. They were ready. They were ready to fight and protect the cows and calves. So that's a story about Farmer. And that's I got off subject there. We were going to talk about more training things and answer some questions, but somehow I got veered off the lane there and took a wrong exit, so to speak. Thinking about looking at Sherman, he sure looks like Farmer sometimes. But you know what? I think this is to give Farmer his time on podcast. I think we're going to let this one be, and I will be back with another one that will address your questions and training issues. But if you like this story, let me know in comments or just private message me. I have a million stories. I've been doing this for 40 years with Malamutes, so I have a few stories. I always enjoy telling you about them, and I hope you like listening to them. In the meantime, if you look on the screen, that's Farmer on the right, and his son Junior is on the left, and his bloodline is, like I said earlier, is in our entire dog yard. So every dog we see, we know that Farmer lives on. God bless, and see you next time.